This is your Irish Guineas preview coming at you from the Curragh, albeit sadly we aren't at the Curragh. I'm your host, George Elek, delighted to be joined as ever by oddschecker's very own Andy Holding as we look ahead to Saturday and Sunday's card over in Ireland. And we're also going to have a quick glance as well at the group racing at Haydock and at York on Saturday. Andy, how are you getting on?
Good, yeah, so far so good. Yeah, decent couple of days last week. One shy of a full house, bit patchy this week, but coming to the weekend stuff now. So
Could
really
have done without all that rain, couldn't we?
Yeah, I know. It's just throwing everything into a little bit of disarray, really. Yeah, it's come as a welcome to some set connections, which we'll talk about in a second or two. But the Curragh sort of like in between. I looked at the forecast for Saturday. I think they're going to be right for the 2,000 guineas, the Colts, but yeah, the fillies might just get something completely different on a Sunday if that forecast is to believe.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll get to that when we get there. But we'll kick off with Saturday's card at the Curragh. We're recording this just after midday on Friday, so final decks on Sunday are only just in, but we do have a couple of markets up. As is often the case with the Irish racing, fewer races priced up early. So, but we will kind of have a look at, I guess, a couple of the races. We haven't got prices yet where Andy can flag up some to look at. I'm guessing nothing in the first, Andy, because none of them have run yet apart from one. So we'll get straight into the 155 on Saturday at the Curragh, which is the Marble Hill Stakes over 6 furlongs. The 2-year-old race here. We'll be going through the best prices as per the oddschecker grids and the oddschecker app, where you can find the best prices. Bookie offers free bets, and Andy's tips, amongst other tips, is straight to your phone every morning of racing. Camille Pizarro is the 10 to 11 favourite here, ahead of Midnight Strike at 5-2. Unexpected Issues 7-1. The Parthenon is 7-1. Arizona Blaze 9-1. Monotone 20-1. Local Lad 40-1. The Parthenon unraced. Camille Pizarro, Midnight Strike, and Unexpected Issues all winning first time out. Camille Pizarro is certainly the one that has been given the most respect by the bookmakers. Andy, do you agree with that?
No, I think this is definitely one to take on. He's a nice horse, granted, but what he did on the numbers first time out when winning fairly decisively doesn't really amount to a great deal. He's going to have to improve, I think, significantly to justify 10 to 11 favouritism. And the form of the race as well has worked out terribly. Second and third are both been absolutely striped in their next respective starts. So, albeit he is a promising colt, no doubt, and Aidan O'Brien's bound to get a bit of improvement out of him. He's done nothing to warrant me even half entertaining him at that price. I'm much more of a fan of Midnight Strike. I think his form has got quite a bit more substance. More to the point, his time figure was much better when he won first time out. And of course, it was at the Curragh as well, which is not to be disregarded. He beat a horse called Treasured Isle, coincidentally trained by Aidan O'Brien very easily. And Treasured Isle booked his ticket for Royal Ascot last week, I believe. Is it Naas or Navan? Like I say, so I think there's more depth to his form. So yeah, all in all, I really do fancy Midnight Strike. I wouldn't say he should be favoured. I think he should be favoured in my head. There's no way he was going to be favoured in everybody else's head. But because of that, I think I'm getting a value price here, around about the 5-2 mark.
Yeah, 5-2 best price as it stands. Coral, Live Score Bet, Ladbrokes, and VBet. The 4 firms going 5-2 there about Midnight Strike, an early favourite to take on there from Andy. In the 2:30, we have the Greenland Stakes, again over 6 furlongs. Should have been a ring is the 9-2 joint favourite with Art Power. Moss Tucker is 11-2. Regional 6-1. Matilda Picotte is 8-1. Ocean's Quest is 12-1. Mitbahi 14-1. Easy 16-1. Unequal Love 20-1. Eros and Psyche is 25-1. Horse that was flagged up to you and I on a WhatsApp group we were on yesterday by Johnny Ward. Are you in agreement with him that he's one to look out for at a big price, off for 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at his form when he finished second in a Group 1 behind Harfield Princess, he's a major player. The only reason he's 25-1 because he hasn't run for 622 days, and we just don't know the level of fitness in the interim. But he's trained by Paddy Toomey, who, if anyone can get a horse to deliver the goods first time out, it's him. So yeah, he's very much an interesting runner, George. He wouldn't be my natural selection, but I can see where Johnny Ward's coming from.
Who would be your natural selection?
Ocean Quest. She ran over 5 furlongs first time out, got beat by Moss Tucker. Now, Moss Tucker's probably one of the preeminent 5 furlong sprinters over in Ireland in the last couple of seasons. Wherever sort of Moss Tucker finishes in these races, you kind of rate the race around. But I think Mastucker's probably slightly better over 5 furlongs nowadays, whereas Ocean Quest definitely is a 6 furlong filly. That trip, even at Navan over a stiff track, was too sharp for her. Sorry, Nace, I beg your pardon. And I think Jessica's probably geared her up specifically for this race. She's a course winner. We know she stays really well. She ran well at Royal Ascot last season. I think she was 4th in the Commonwealth Cup, or certainly in and around the sort of main plays in the Commonwealth Cup. So she has got a very good profile. I love the fact that she comes from a yard in incredibly good form. She's bound to come on for the run. Good ground, 6 furlong, stiff track at the Curragh. She'll be absolutely ideal. A little bit surprised that she's double the price at Moss Tucker, given that she's got probably better credentials for this course and distance. So she will do for me at 12-1, George, in this.
Yeah, 12-1 is with Bet Victor and Coral. They're both 3 places. If you want to take the 4 places, you're best off getting to William Hill, who are 11-1. Yeah, you're right about 4th in the Commonwealth Cup last year at Ascot, in behind Shaquille. Little Big Bear and Swing Along, beaten just 2.5 lengths there as well. So good caliber there for Ocean Quest, as you say, 12-1 compared to Moss Tucker, who's 11-2 best price. That is the 230. We haven't got any prices as of yet for the listed race that comes after that, the 305 over a mile 4. Any of you before prices come out?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what price bookmakers chalk up the Dermot Well filly down the bottom, Samia. She's a really imposing filly by Sea the Stars, who made a successful start to her campaign last season when she beat Thunderroll. Now, Thunderroll turned the form around with her at Cork in a listed race the other day, but I was left with the impression after watching that race several times over that Samir was probably the filly to take out of it. She just got caught in a little bit of a pocket as the pace increased, eventually turning for home. I don't think it was a breakneck gallop by any stretch of the imagination. And it didn't really play to her strengths as far as I could read it. But I think now she's had that run under her belt, and Dermot would probably just leave a little bit to work with for the rest of the season. Yes, of course, he wanted a win first time out, but he's got the black type next to her name already. So now he can really attack and go forward with her. And you look at this race, it's full of horses that, by and large, are I've got like quite a lot of battle scars over the years. They're not exactly sort of on the upward trajectory. Some are still going okay, but I don't think Candleford's a 5-2 shot. I think Ray's Hughes, a player, he ended up challenging on the wrong part of the track the other day at the Curragh behind White Birch. I think he's a player, but to the price of Samir, if he was, put it this way, if she was like 7-1, the forecast price in the race in Paris, I'd be all over that.
Samir there, the one to keep an eye on there for Andy, the listed race. Prices should be out, I'd have thought, kind of 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, there's no way she could be a bigger price and run for Oscar, for instance. It was an out-and-out 2-miler. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know, you got a filly that's on the improve that's finished placed in a similar race over a mile and a half up against a horse that won the Cesarewitch, and it's the Racing Post got, whoever's put that in there on the Racing Post believes that Samir's got a worse chance.
Could be an issue using the post prices to guess what prices are going to be, but we'll see fairly soon. Hopefully, Samir is that kind of 7-1 mark around about. On to the 340, the big race on the card on Saturday is the Irish 2000 Guineas, where we have 8 runners and an odds-on favourite. So I am excited. Rosalien is the 10-11 favourite ahead of River Tiber at 4-1. Hartum 13-2, Unquestionable 13-2, Mountain Bear 20-1, Atlantic Coast 33-1, Bright Stripes 50-1, Take Me to Church 66-1. And normally, Andy, I see the shape of this race and I'm like, one will probably come out, but it's the 2000 Guineas. You've got to think all 8 will go to post. How do you see the value currently in this renewal?
Yeah, I fancy one at a big price in this. It's just I love the shape of it. I think I won't say anything can happen, but I don't think some of the outsiders are probably should be as dismissive as what the market suggests, particularly the one I'm going to talk about. Look, Rosalie's got to be favourite. Cracking second in the 2000 Guineas. How good that race is, only time will tell. Notable Speech won it well, but there was several notable disappointments, including the favourite, of course, City of York, who unbelievably is City of Troy, beg your pardon, who's now 7-4 for the Derby. I find that hard to get my head around. I have no idea why punters are looking to take anything under 2-1 about him under such a cloud. So we'll see. Look, Roussillon had a great glowing report, didn't he, going into the Guineas? He certainly did everything that Richard Hannon Connections would have wanted. Just got beat by a better horse on the day. He's had a run. Track should be ideal for him. Good ground is fine. You'd be worried if it went soft, but it's not going to because the rain's not going to come in time. So if you want to get lumpy with him, then fair enough. But you look at the others, and I think some of the Brian horses are quite difficult to kind of get your head around. They're all having their first run by and large. And they all looked similar types from last season. Mountain Bear, River Tiber, unquestionable. They won in their turn. They got beat in their turn. Yeah, I don't think Aiden's running his strongest crop there, but it's dangerous to dismiss Aiden in a race that he's farmed. I think Hartimer run well. I thought he's running the Guineas as more than commendable. But getting onto the one I really fancy at the prices is Bright Stripes. He's a 50 to 1 shot currently. I'm hoping he's going to be that tomorrow because this will probably be going up on my column. He's the only course and distance winner in the field. And I love the way that he quickened up last time out. He just seemed a horse coming of age. He beat a couple of horses that had been very much well touted early on the season. One of Jessica's called Norwalk Havoc, who'd won his 2 previous starts. And most notably, Samuel Colt, who should have won the Guineas Trial first time out at Leopardstown, and then was backed as if defeat was out of the question in this Tetrarch Stakes. And Samuel Colt just could not live with Bright Stripes. And I thought that was impossible because I thought Samuel Colt was a really good horse. I still think he's a decent horse, but Bright Stripes left him for dead late on. And because he's trained by Andrew Oliver and he won against the grain last time out, he's been very much dismissed here. But he loves the Curragh and he has got a turn of foot and he'd be ridden chilly here out the back door. So I think he could easily pick up pieces late on. I'm not sure whether anyone will be betting 4 places on the day. You never know. It is a Guineas and bookmakers do strange things. But I'll be sniffing around for anything I could get in with him. I think I'll be disappointed actually if he doesn't finish in the first 4. So yeah, Bright Stripes, big opportunity to get stuck into
that. Yeah, Bright Stripes 50 to 1. That is with Paddy Power and Betfair Sportsbook. Currently, a few firms also 40 to 1. The likes of Sky Bet, William Hill. So a few big prices out there. What a selection! 50 to 1 for the Irish 2000 Guineas. Fingers crossed.
Simon Cowell would say you would. I wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't. Absolutely not. I'm over the moon. I mean, you've given me a 50 to 1 shot and an 8-runner affair with an odds on Fav. I couldn't be happier. Let's just hope it's still there by the time we finish recording. 3 races left on the card. We've got 2 handicaps and then a maiden to finish. Anything for listeners and viewers to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, the 4:15. Just keep an eye on Crystal Black. He's a horse that's gathered up a real solid CV at the Curragh over this stiff mile in recent times, and now we know he stars a mile and a quarter as well. He's very much a horse to keep on the right side of. I saw him entered up in I think he's in the Royal Hunt Cup. Whether a mile there he's maybe on the sharp side for him nowadays. Now they've stepped him up in trip. He's open to question, but I think he's a horse going places. He's a big, strong, powerful type that Colin Keane gets on really well with. Of course, he rides for his dad, Gerard Keane, and he's got a lovely draw as well. So I'd keep very much an eye on him. And there was one in the sprint race that I quite liked. Where are we? Oh no, it's in the last race. Beg your pardon. Ozark Days. Again, another Andrew Oliver horse. Could be a red letter day for him. He finished 3rd in a hot maiden the other day behind a horse of Jessica Harrington's. And I think it's quite a good race for the grey. They went a good pace and he travelled really well. He's very much a winner waiting to happen, Ozark Days. And that could be a really good opportunity for him against quite a few of making their debuts. So I'd imagine that Ozark Days will go very close in that last.
Good stuff. A couple more races we're going to just quickly tick off back over this side of the Irish Sea. We'll start at Haydock, where we have got the Temple Stakes, where Live the Dream. This is the 150 on the card, the Group 2 over 5 furlongs. Living the Dream is the 4 to 1 favourite ahead of Rogue Lightning at 5 to 1. Vadream 5 to 1. Asfura 5 to 1. Beautiful Diamond, the Sea of Blue and oddschecker 8 to 1. 7 Questions 16 to 1. Equality 16 to 1. 20 to 1. Makarova, Kurdos 22 to 1. Flora of Bermuda 25 to 1. 7 Questions, Andy. Listeners and viewers to this show should have had a decent payday the other day. You'd think the host would have done as well, but he was put off by the drift, wasn't he? The fool.
Yes, you've little faith.
Yeah.
You've little faith. Yeah, I think 7 questions will go okay here. I going to speak to George this morning. I can't exactly say word for word what he said because we'd get kicked off the air. But he was more than happy with the way he's trained. Now, 7 questions is notable for his poor work at home. Now, whether this is actually a bad thing or not, because he is now beginning to work well, I don't know. But that means he's going to run badly on the track and do an about turn in his fortunes. I don't know. But since he won the Palace House, he's really come of age. He's flourished at home, and like I say, some of his work has been exceptional. He won't mind the ground. He ran really well in the Mill Reef on the ground last year. He comes here on a crest of a wave. George is really happy with him. He's got a lovely draw right in the middle. I'd imagine he'll track the speed, which will be no doubt be served up by Living the Dream, who is the rightful favourite based on what he did last season, of course, at York and subsequent events. But the conditions are going to be fairly tiring first time out. So if you are going to take on the likes of Living the Dream and Rogue Lightning as well, who I think is a really good purchase, by the way, by Wellham Racing, I think Tom Clover's horse is going to be a real money spinner throughout the rest of the season. Then I think today could be the day, or Saturday, of course. I think for Dream is a major interest. Now the ground's gone soft. Charlie Fellows, his mare, is a different kettle of fish when conditions are in her favour. And I see she's been very well back throughout the course of the week. I think she was 10-1 early doors. Now she's sort of around about 5-1. Is that correct?
Yeah.
5-1.
Current price is 5-1. Yeah, sure, it's 7-2 in places.
Yeah, I think anything each way about Dream, you won't be a million miles away there because she's running really well, and she'll be the one out of the field who is guaranteed to handle the conditions, and she's fit. So the way I play this race would be Dream each way at 5-1 if you can still get that come Saturday. But I'd definitely have a little bit of a saver on one of Charlie Fellows' best friends, of course. George Scott, the two of them do that podcast together, don't they? Which is a real laugh. So yeah, one of them I think might just get the bragging rights over the other here with either the Dream or 7 questions.
Could even do the Charlie and George reverse forecast.
Wouldn't that be something?
Vadream is 5-1 with Hills, Coral, live score bet, and Ladbrokes. And where are we? 7 questions, 16-1. That is with Bet365, Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook, the 2 against the field for Andy there. And then we'll stop off quickly at York before we head back to Ireland for Sunday's racing. Where we have got the Bronte Cup, the fillies race over mile 6. This is a Group 3. River of Stars is the 7-2 favourite. Short is 9-4 elsewhere. Gather Your Rosebud 7-2. Short is 11-4 elsewhere. So a couple of firms disagreeing at the top of the market. Trevunance is 9-1. Term of Endearment 9-1. Safety Catch 10-1. Night Sparkle 12-1. LeMay 12-1. Marie's Rock 14-1, and then 40-1 bar the other 2. 10 runners here, Andy. How do you see this?
I look to be against Gather Your Rosebuds, particularly if the ground dries out. It's currently good to stop, but they've forecast no rain at all in York throughout the course of today as we speak and tomorrow. So I think the ground will probably dry out to good, which on looking at her career history is no good to her whatsoever. She needs it soft or heavy. That's when she's at her best. Her form last time out is exceptional. I get that, but that's on heavy ground. She's not going to get that on Saturday, so I think she's a poor price at 3-1. I'd rather be with River of the Stars at the 2, the front end of the market, proving at the track. The yard's in really good form, and she was a lovely sweet filly last season who improved with every run. But the one I like is the bottom one, Trovenance. I think Bet365 have gone 9-1. I'd have her probably more 4-1, 5-1. I think her overall level of form is exceptionally good. She ran in Maidan throughout the course of the winter, but that didn't work out. Perhaps she just didn't come to herself. But you look at her race form last season. She was second in a Group 1 in Cologne in Germany. She was third beyond Luminaire in a Group 2 at the Curragh. That's exceptionally good. And I thought she needed to run big time first time out at Cork behind Thunder Roll race, which I've covered early on in the piece. So I think, given that Jessica Harrington has brought her over, and Jessie's got a very good record when she comes over this country and at York as well. She's won quite a few of these kind of races with fillies. So I think 9-1 is way out of whack from the way I'm looking at this race. So yeah.
9-1 is standout with Bet365 there, 7-1 basically across the board for Andy's selection there at York. Let's head back over to Ireland, back to the Curragh for Sunday's card. How's the forecast looking here? It could be a bit of a change of conditions, couldn't it, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get biblical rain, but there's a weather front coming in from the west, and it's going to sort of crash land sort of through Saturday evening into Sunday. How much they get, your guess is as good as mine. It's going to be good Saturday, but it could be good to soft yielding, that kind of stuff by Sunday. I'd say it'd be more easier surface for the runners for the fillies renewal. So that changes plans a little bit, the way I'm thinking with a few.
Well, let's get into the racing again. We have got no prices in the maiden to open up, and then there's a handicap at the second race of the card, again, not priced up. Anything to keep an eye on in those?
No, not necessarily. I had a quick look at those, and I thought, oh, there's bound to be something, but there's nothing jumping out. There is a couple later on in the handicap, so we'll deal with the ones that are priced up, and then perhaps pay lip service to a few later.
Perfect. We will start then with the 2:35, the fillies and mares race over a mile, where Rogue Millennium is the 13-8 favourite ahead of Orchard Bloom at 4-1. Ocean Jewel 9-2, Villanova Queen and You Send Me both 9-1, Goldana 10-1, 12-1, Gregorina 33-1 bar those. 9 runners here, Andy. How do you see it?
Yeah, interesting purchase here from the Joseph O'Brien stable. They've got hold of Rogue Millennium, who was a progressive mare last season. Her form tailed off towards the back end. That was because she was running in Group 1s. This is a good start for her at a slightly grade lower, but I don't think she's a 13-8 shot on balance, particularly as she hasn't had a run. It's interesting the jockey bookings here, because obviously Joseph O'Brien has got a very notable strong hand here, but he's had a couple of fillies that have already had a run this season, and the one I was most impressed with on her debut for the yard was Gregorina. She went off unfancied on that occasion. I think Joseph had a couple in there. Jumbly was a very short price favourite, and I think he might have had another one in there. But Dylan Brown McMonagle, who rode her on that occasion, dropped her right out the back, but she was noted making smooth headway down to the furlong pole. She still had quite a bit to find, even with about 100 yards to run, but she showed a devastating turn of foot. Got to the front runner, or the one that was in front at the time, You Send Me, readily. Won by a head, but with another 2 or 3 strides, she was length or two clear. So on my reckoning, she did really well to win A, first time up when she wasn't fancied, B, over 7 furlongs. And you look at her profile from last season when she was in France, before they purchased her, all her best forms ever further. So I think she's going to improve for the step up in trip. She's bound to be ridden chilly again. So even though Mikey Shee technically is the third string, if you like, because Declan's riding Goldana and Dylan Brown McMonagle's riding Rogue Millennium, which is natural. They've spent all that money. They're going to want the number 1 stable jockey on it. I think Gregorine has been massively underestimated here, and she would definitely do for me at the prices, double figure quotes.
Gregorina 12-1. Yeah, that's with Sky Bet, Paddy Power, and the Betfair Sportsbook for Gregorina. The selection there for Andy in the 2:35. On to the Gold Cup now, Tattersall's Gold Cup, where Auguste Rodin is 4-5 favourite ahead of White Birch at 5-1, Elegant Man 6-1. Lumiere Rock 9-1, Mashore 25-1, Lord Massasus and Hans Anderson both 33-1, Crypto Force 50-1. Andy, it's an 8-runner race with an odds-on favourite, and an odds-on favourite where there's no denying Auguste Rodin's quality, but when we know what happens when things go wrong.
Yeah, he's just a complete oxo horse for me, Augustin Rodin. Obviously on his day, incredibly brilliant, but he just throws in too many poor runs for me to be entertaining him at a bet at even money. So yeah, with the dead 8 runners, it's open for manipulation, isn't it? I really like White Birch in this. I've got to be honest, he was a smidgen disappointing towards the back end of last season. I thought he was the real deal going into the Irish Derby, because I backed him in the English Derby, if you remember. He was the horse I put up, and he just got too far back on the track, which didn't suit him. And I thought, going to the Curragh, he'll really shine. But obviously, it was a good day for Augustin Rodin, but not a great day for White Birch. But since then, his first 2 runs this season, he just seems to look a totally different horse. Albeit he's been only in Group 3 and Group 2 company. But he absolutely wiped the floor with them last time out here. Beat at a good field. He confirmed the form with Maxus and Village Voice, who he'd beaten the time before. And he beat him even more easily the second time. The key to him, though, is easing the ground. Now, the rain is going to be very, very important to him. Not so much for Augustin Rodin. I don't think Connections want soft ground for him. So if it was to go, let's say, yielding to soft in places with the rain, White Birch is 6-1 currently. Would look an unbelievably strong bet.
5-1, I'm afraid.
Well, still 5-1, yeah. At a track that he absolutely loves. So yeah, really, really strong bet there, White Birch.
White Birch, the selection there for Andy, 5-1 best price as it stands currently with Sky Bet, with Paddy Power, and with the Betfair Sportsbook. On then to the 345, which is the Irish 1,000 guineas. Opera Sing is the 5-2 favourite, ahead of Fallen Angel at 5-1. Vespertilio is 6-1. Purple Lily 10-1. Buttons 10-1. A Lilac Roller 10-1. Skelet 12s. Azada 12s. 25-1 bar those. 14 runners here, Andy. How do you see this?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Opera Singer. She was really good when she won here at the Curragh towards the back end of last season, and I run in the pre-mile sale. Busak was devastatingly good as well. She could have done with a slightly better draw. I think still 13 is a little bit problematical on the outside. That'll give Ryan Moore a little bit of a poser. Yeah, and her price just doesn't really sort of float my boat, really, to be honest. I like two fillies who've already had a run this season. Yeah, I really like a low look roller here. Paddy Toomer could have run several in this race. He had several fillies last season towards the back end who were really good. One Touch, I think, was one of them. There's another one as well, which won a maiden, but he's decided to run this filly. And don't forget, she beat Opera Singer early on in last season. She warmed up for a tilt at this prize by winning the fillies trial at Leopardstown. The ground was bottomless. Wouldn't have necessarily been her bag, but she showed incredible bravery to beat Kitty Rose, who got first run, and they were well clear of the rest. The time was good, and she goes back to the Curragh, a track which she's won twice before. She's got a good draw, and I think 10-1 is way too big. And the other one is Buttons, who ran in that aforementioned race, won by a low look roller. She came from a long way back. She was doing all her best work at the finish. And she subsequently gone on to finish second to Wendo, again in another tactical race, which didn't suit her. She was given just far, far too much to do and a slowly run affair. Wendo got first run, and she did really well to get the deficit down to about half a length. She's absolutely crying out for an out-and-out straight track mile. She's a massive son of, filly by Kingman. And I think the galloping nature of the track is going to be right up her street. So I'm going to back two each way here against the field. They're bound to be betting 4 places on the day. A Lilac Roller and Buttons.
Andy, they're betting 5 places at the moment with Sky Bet,
wow.
Where you can get 8-1 Buttons and 9-1 Lilac Roller, 10-1 best price.
I think they'll both be in the first 5. They're just too good. They're just too good not to be in the first 5. Those two.
10-1 best price, both of them. But Buttons, that's Bet Victor and Coral. With the Lilac Roller, you're getting it at most firms. There in the 1,000 guineas. And before we let you go, Andy, there are 3 more races on the card. Any of them anything to look out for when the prices come out?
Yeah, look out for a couple in the Galileo Stakes, the 4:15, depending on the rain. If it does rain quite considerably, then Equator definitely comes into the equation. He won a good race at Leopardstown first time out, but he has been withdrawn before on good ground, so conditions very much needed for him. Spoken Truth as well in the same race. Dermot Wells spoken really favourably of him. I think this is more of a trial for the Irish Derby for him. He looks that type. He was very good when he won at Cork. She had a good attitude, and I think the more racing he has, the better. And in the final race, I did mark off one in this race. I'm pretty sure I did. Oh yeah, an improving horse of Jessica Harrington's called Bay of Sanibel, who got the job done really nicely last time out. Quickened up well, stayed on well, beat a good field at Navan. Stiff track, very much his bag. And anything trained by Jesse at the moment is definitely worth more than the second look.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much to Andy for sharing his tips, thoughts, and insight ahead of the weekend's racing at the Curragh and a couple of races over here as well. Make sure you download the oddschecker app where you can find the best prices, bookie offers, free bets, and Andy's tips straight to the app every morning of racing. Have a great weekend, Andy, and we'll speak again soon. Plenty coming up, of course, with the Derby and, of course, Royal Ascot as well. And we'll have you covered here at Oddschecker. Please do ensure that you gamble responsibly and enjoy the racing.